This is Parent University, and we're still discussing the DISC leadership tools or for Parent University. And right now, we're going to talk about integrity. We're going to talk about integrity. So we got the D is for discipline, the I is for integrity. And in Parent University, I think integrity is hard for human beings, period, right? Because someone told me that integrity is telling the truth to yourself, honesty
Mm.
is telling the truth to everyone else. So, integrity really is a lot about self talk because it's integrity, of course, is being the same and having character when nobody else is watching, right? So, in Parent University, let's see what we'll discuss today when we discuss integrity. First of all, what would you guys have to tell parents about integrity? Because this right here is a hard one because people have different definitions of integrity, you guys. Okay. So integrity, what is integrity in your words? And how has it like really shaped you?
So you're right. There are different definitions of integrity. So I just want to give the common language before we get started. So we define as an organization integrity as doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. Lead by example and own your actions. Choose what's right. And I used to tell my kids all the time, get caught doing the right thing. So that's how we as an organization define integrity.
I like you, Justin. Okay, man.
I would say, and
You're
I
caught
mean,
doing
everything that we said integrity is, but I would just even go into like as a parent, um, your integrity is matching what we are teaching them in the organization at home. So if your coach is having you do one thing, continuing that conversation and that drilling of integrity at home. So if your football coach is saying this is how the play runs, and you come home and are being told something different, or oh, you should do it this way, that's not integrity because we're not matching the integrity of what the coach is saying.
Yeah.
Or even on the cheer side, like if a cheer coach is saying you need to do the jump this way, or we want you to do this, we don't want parents trying to show the athlete something different. So
Mhm.
integrity really is not only the athlete being caught doing something well, it's also the parents. I mean, it starts with us as the parents, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like we are the leaders of our children, and they may not listen to what we say, but they are for sure going to follow what we do. So just keeping that integrity at home as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we're building champions with character here. And we have to understand the difficult thing about character is that you have character, it could just be bad character, right? Or you can have good character. And if it's bad character, you don't have any integrity. And we
Right.
want to make sure that we have integrity. So for instance, if we know the policy for practice is if you're late to practice 2 times, you have to sit out the first half. As a parent, you have to know that if that kid is late 2 times for practice, they're not playing the first half. Like we have to keep the integrity of the organization, but the kid also has to know that there's a standard, right? And integrity would say that your kid should get to the point where they say, you know what, coach, I missed practice twice. I know I have to sit out the first half. Because even though they want to play, the right thing to do is to
Yeah.
be accountable to the coach and to the standard that was set. That's the thing about integrity. Like when nobody is watching you, when me as a parent is not watching Seth or Michael and is not watching Keelani, they have to know that when they go to the coaches, whatever standard was set, you either meet the standard or you don't. And that's what integrity does. Integrity will have you be honest as a parent, and it'll have your kid be honest to themselves that they didn't measure up. I got to do something differently. So these conversations can't always be about blaming someone else. In integrity, there really is no blame. There's only accountability. There's only, I need to do this better next time, or I need to put this in place. And I believe that we're going to continue to build champions with character. Integrity is actually key to that. is actually key to
Yep.
that.
Yeah, I think that when you think about the DISC pillars, discipline is the first letter, right? But if you're disciplined, you will have integrity.
Integrity.
It kind of leads and builds on each other throughout as we go throughout all the pillars. But if you have discipline, it will lead to strong integrity. I think when I think about integrity, I think about the movie Tina Turner. And she said, all I got is my name. And I think integrity is so much of
Yeah.
your name because it defines who you are as a person. You know, it speaks to your true character. And when we think about raising champions and parent universities and what we want to see in all the core components of our athletes and how we help our parents to raise champions, we want to make sure that we're helping our athletes grow from discipline to integrity. And it all leads to the same thing, but one builds on each other. So integrity to me is our name. And so if we think about United, we want United to always, when they hear the HF United, we want them to think about discipline. We want them to think about our athletes who have integrity, who respect the game no matter what. The same way you lose is the same way you win is the same way you lose.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we want our athletes to carry themselves and lead the program representing us when they go on to high school and saying, who did you play with? They play with HF United. And that will tell what type of athlete is coming into the programs for the high schools on the cheer and football side.
Yeah, and I went through that. I was just up at HF. It was the day I saw you, Aaron. I was up there, and it had to be about 25 HF United athletes on the field. Varsity and JV was on the field, and they came up to me, and you know, they talked. And one thing I can say is, you know, when it's time for integrity, it's like it's doing things for honest gain and not for personal gain.
Yeah.
So like there's something about being able to live in truth, because if you live in truth, you don't have anything to hide. That's
Right.
what integrity does. We don't have to hide in the shadows. We don't have to make things up. I don't have to tell my teacher, you know, the dog ate my homework. If you just did the darn homework, the dog wouldn't have had eaten it in the first place, right? Because we know what's going on here. And what I like of what you said is that thing about the name, like when you don't have a name anymore, there's really not anything anybody can do for you. And when I think of integrity, I think of a person who is the same all the time.
Yep.
Circumstances don't make them change. Heat or pressure does not make them change. I think about, you know, that Michael Jordan statue at the United Center, right? No matter if it rains, no matter if it's sleet or snow or heat or wind or thunderstorm or hot or cold, that statue is going to look the same no matter what happens. And that's what I think about when I think of integrity. Like you said, Jessica, it's like when you win, you're the same way. When you lose, you're the same way. When you succeed, you're the same way. When you fail, you're the same way. You know, when you get tempted to do something, if you see $5 on the ground and you see it fall out of somebody's pocket, you're going to give them their $5, right? Or you drop your $5 on the ground and somebody gives it to you, you might say, hey, thank you. And you might give them the $5. I mean, integrity shapes human beings, and it does define reputation. And a lot of the kids in the program have to understand that even on that high school level, some of these people know some of these kids when they're already coming to the school, and kids with integrity are spoken about like they have it. And watch this. And kids who don't have it, we got to be honest with them and say, hey, he's a good athlete, but he needs to work on some of these things right here. So that means as parents, we have to reflect integrity. And I think sometimes there's this won't go off topic, but there are so many things in our lives that we may be out of integrity with that we don't think our kids are watching. From the slightest little things. Like maybe, I don't want to give any examples, but you guys know what I'm talking about. It may be things in our lives that are out of integrity that the kids actually see. right? They may see us lying to our boss about being sick and calling off from work, and I'm sitting at home right here watching Netflix. I just don't want to go. Y'all know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of little things, and we think kids don't watch, but integrity, like discipline,
Yeah.
these all bleed to each other. It's these little things that starts to add up. So my kids will go, you know what, Daddy? You said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. Just because they said it, and I know I said it and I didn't do it, I do it. I apologize. I renegotiate the deal, and we may do it then or we may do it another time, but I'm accountable to them for being out of integrity. So, what are some things that parents may be out of integrity with? And if you're watching this, look at your life and see what you may be out of integrity with. Because if we want our kids to have it, we surely have to learn how to display it.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, what are some of the tips that we can give parents to help their athletes develop integrity?
That's a really good question.
That is a really good question.
I think you kind of said it, like leading by example. I'll never forget when I first started driving, my parents used to make this U-turn in the middle of the street, and it was illegal. And so when I started driving, I made the same U-turn, right? And I got in an accident, and I looked at my dad. I said, "You do it all the time." And he was like, "But you're not supposed to." So I think the first way for me, my first tip is like just leading by example. My kids know that I don't take off. And so when they see that I'm off, they just know, like, they go to school every day because I go to work every day. Just leading by example, I think, would be the first thing. When we were talking, I was trying to figure out some tips, but that would be the first thing for me, for parents, is making sure that you're leading by example, because they are watching every single thing that we do, which will help lead to strong integrity.
I also think it kind of, to piggyback off of what Mikkel said, I mean, even when you go out of integrity and you are being held accountable, even by your athlete, as a parent, apologizing and saying, you know what, I did fall out of my integrity, but here's how I'm going to come back from that. Parents, we're human. We're not perfect. And I don't know how many times I can say that. Nobody is perfect. But I think that shows a lot of integrity to your athlete if you as a parent can say, you know what, I didn't keep my end of the bargain. I didn't do what I was supposed to do, so that you can see how you even come back from not holding up your integrity. I think that's another thing we can do as parents.
Yeah, I think that's good too.
Go ahead.
I was thinking too, like when you said that we got to teach our athletes it's okay to make mistakes and how to come back from the mistakes that we made. This is how you communicate. This is how you talk. This is how you come back. Because so many times I'm seeing in the schools that kids are afraid to make mistakes, and you got to be able to make mistakes to learn and to grow.
Yep.
And I think that it also speaks to failure. Like, failure will happen. We know that our athletes will succeed, but when they fail, how do you come back from failure? We've got to teach them that as well, because that's a big part of discipline and integrity.
Yes. And you know what? Don't cut corners. Like, do things all the way through. With integrity, the process matters. With integrity, the process matters. You can't. It kind of bleeds into discipline, but when you have integrity, the process matters. So, for instance, I can use track as the perfect. If you have a track kid, it's the perfect thing. Like, you have to be in love with the process, the everyday, not cheating the drill. Not cheating, watching yourself on film, not cheating the little things you have to do to be successful. Because the thing that's deceptive about life is you can run your worst time today and come in first place, run your best time another week and come in last place. So integrity means that you're going to work that process the way it needs to be worked. And you're going to stay consistent to it, even if you don't get the results that you want to get right away. Because even as parents, we're tempted also to cut corners in the lives that we have. Like she said, you didn't have to make the U-turn. You could have made a right turn, drove around the block, and did it the right way. But since we cut a corner, poor little Jessica had an accident because we decided to cut the corner. That is the perfect example of integrity right there. Like there's a right way to do it, and then there's just a way that it was done. And somebody told me, no, it was Nick Saban. Nick Saban said, my father told me, if you don't have time to do it right the first time, what makes you think you got time to do it right a second time?
Correct.
And that just did something to me. I was like, man, this is why this man won 7 national championships. So integrity, we can't cut corners. We have to, and this is going to sound like something like really petty. If you go to the store and you're with your kid, this happened to me. The person gave me so much change. My son was like, you know, they gave you way too much change, right? He's looking at me. I'm like, ma'am, you gave me way too much change. That right there set a precedent for him that I have to have integrity. It doesn't matter what I would have gained. Sometimes it just means you just do the right thing when people are watching and when they are not. So if you guys had one point you want to leave with them about integrity, what would it be? Just the one thing, so they can go home and they can think about it and lay down in their sleep and be in integrity. What would it be?
I think that we've kind of, to echo what we said, we've got to make sure that we are leading by example. Our athletes are watching us more than we know, and that is really how you shape character. And the last thing, something that you said that I want to make sure, when we think about mentorship, when we think about this, there is a way to play football, there's a way to cheer, but there is the united way, and that is what we are trying to define by introducing Parent University, by building out the DISC and the common language. There are ways, but there's no way like the HF United way.
Ooh, that United way, I'm taking that.
That's a shirt.
That's a shirt. That's the United way.
I think my last comment is live your life how you like. If it was put in a newspaper, what would they say about you?
Yeah.
If you were okay, you want to make sure your headline in a newspaper is what you want. So if you live by integrity, that headline is always going to be good.
Yes. I'm going to steal from Jessica because it stuck with me. I do a lot of speaking, so I will be using this. I will give you all the credit for it, by the way. You know, you got to get caught doing what's right. That just stuck with me. You got to get caught doing what's right. Yeah. Because if you do what's right at the right time and the wrong time, right? It's never the wrong time to do what's right. So every single action that we perform can either get us closer to where we want to be or further than where we want to be. And there's no point in getting to the end of your road and you have no name. Nobody wants to deal with you. There's a quote that I read that says, when a person has integrity, nothing else matters. And then when a person doesn't have integrity, nothing else matters. So we can leave you with that. You know, we got discipline, we got integrity, and in Parent University, we hope that these I don't want to call them lessons because we're all adults, but these conversations can all help us be better parents and better people.